Okay, and we come to our final video of our whirlwind tour of Floyd County, Iowa. This whole thing was unplanned, came about completely by accident. So we got to the end of meeting up with all the Oliver guys there at the Legion, and one of the last guys standing there, Dad had been talking to him for a while. I had been talking to other guys as they were leaving. Actually, this was one of the guys that kind of showed up to more listen and just be there to see all the other guys. He never managed to get on camera. He snuck away from me in that respect. But Dad was talking to him, and he was one of the last guys left in the room. So I went over and was talking to him, and apparently he had been telling Dad that there was some stuff that he and another guy had for sale, and if we had time, he wanted us to come look at it. And he said, and if you come look at this stuff, if you have yet more time, you're only going to be about 6 miles away from a particular set of tractors. I gotta keep the model number secret because you're going to find out here in a minute in the video. I never thought in my lifetime I would ever get to see one in real life. Now, I incorrectly state in the video, and I should have looked it up before I started the video, but we were short on time. The weather was kind of we were trying to let this guy get on with his Sunday who was showing us around, and we needed to get on the road to get back here. So it was kind of a hurry up and get it done type of deal. But I incorrectly state in the video because at some point I thought that they made 11 of these as prototypes. Don't know how that number got stuck in my head. I thought I read it somewhere. Turns out they only made 4 of these as prototypes. One of them ended up in either Ohio or Pennsylvania, and it sold on auction several years ago with transmission troubles. One of them, once they got done using it for testing and decided that the program was being killed, was dismantled and used as a test bed for other stuff. So it probably is scrapped by now. There might be parts floating around of it. And then 2 of them got bought by a farm at the liquidation auction after they cleared out the plant. Those 2 tractors are currently at an undisclosed location somewhere around Charles City, Iowa. We got to go see them. Did not think, like I say, I did not think that I would ever see one of these in person because there was only ever 4 to begin with, and I didn't even know that 2 of them, I knew that there was still a few around. I didn't realize that A, they were that close to Charles City, and B, they were actually actively still farming with them, which tells you how good at tractors they were, to be prototypes and to still be farming. One of them has been altered a little bit to keep it running, but all of the parts are there to put it back to its original form. So like I say, I'm not gonna name names as to where it's at, although I've been told that there are pictures out there that they show up on Facebook on occasion. So some people probably know about them, but probably not a lot. But I'm not gonna name names of where they are. I'm not gonna name names of the farm. I'm not gonna name names of the guy that showed it to us to protect the innocent. But here's these tractors, and I'm sorry I probably didn't do the best job. I was so damn giddy while I was filming these things because it was so cool. I didn't even know what to do with myself. So check these things out. Okay, we're gonna start you off as a teaser looking at the back of this thing so you don't know what it is. This is probably one of the rarest whites ever built. Actually, it probably holds 2. It is the rarest and is the biggest. And as far as I remember, and I gotta confirm this, but I'm pretty sure they built 11 of them, I think. Hand built a run of 11 of them before it was all, the whole thing was canceled. There's only 5 or 6 left in existence. One of them was at one time in Ohio with transmission issues. It would run, but it wouldn't move. Matter of fact, I think it wouldn't move because the wheels were actually locked up. Something was seriously screwed up. So not all of the survivors are runners, but, and we're gonna get closer to the front here, because I never thought in my lifetime I would see one of these in person, up close in the flesh. This is a white 4.325 3406 cat. This was the biggest farm tractor to ever come out of the Charles City plant. 325 horsepower. Of course, with that 3406 in there, with the turn of a screw, it could have been 400 just as easy. Don't mind all the cows in the background. Okay, I had to cut a part out there because there was names and addresses involved and I didn't want to show that. But these were an experimental tractor that were meant to go into production in the late 80s, early 90s. And because all of four-wheel drive white production was canceled, they never continued. But like I say, I never in a million years figured I would see one of these in the flesh, let alone have the chance to sit in one. And if I make it back out, if I can make it or time it right to make it back out here during field work, I can drive it because they still farm with it.
Well, my memory.
This farm not only has one 4.325, they have two 4.325s. Don't mind the 4.270 side tin. This tractor suffered some engine problems, and as a temporary stopgap, in order to get it back in the field, they shoved a short frame tub on the front, and it's got a 4.270 front frame in it and a 3306. But from here back, she's all 4.325. So like I say, not only is there two experimental white four-wheel drives on this farm still running and operating, or not only is there one, there is two. Oh, this is so cool. Just the fact that they're still farming with them is nuts. I'd rather see, I mean, even being experimental, I'd rather see them out doing the job that they're supposed to be doing rather than wasting away in a collection. This is awesome. I never figured I'd see something like this. So, like I say, hopefully we will be able to make it back. Well, we're coming back out here at some point anyhow, because we've got more people to meet and more things to do. But hopefully we can make it out here and actually see these things running and doing stuff, because that would be amazing, because that's just not something you're gonna see at all. So there you have it. There's the largest tractor to ever wear the white name. Can't count the AGCO stars because the only thing they wore was silver paint. They were never actually badged as a white, and they weren't built in Charles City, and they weren't even whites. They were McConnell marks. So 4.325 white, biggest tractor to ever be built in Charles City, biggest tractor to ever wear the white name. Only 4 of them ever built. I got to see 2 of them. And like I say, the third one still exists somewhere over that away. I just don't know it was one of them deals where I'm assuming it got bought by a private collector and it will probably never be seen again until it comes back up for sale one of these days. Hopefully it doesn't get destroyed, because then there's only two. But the one that you saw there that is still a complete 325, the guy that was showing it to us told us that the paperwork was either complete or very close to being complete, that once they decide to once those tractors are done with once that tractor is done with its farming career, it is donated to the Floyd County Museum so that it stays there in Charles City for the rest of its life. The other one doesn't have a permanent home after, at least as of right now, does not have a permanent home. So if it ever goes up for auction, nobody bid against me. But I guess a quick backstory on why those tractors are there and why they're still being farmed with. The gentleman, if I remember right, he said, because we didn't actually get to talk to the guys that owned it, unfortunately. Hopefully I do here sometime in the future, because I want to hear more about those tractors and their life. They were on vacation. It was actually a neighbor who was friends with them who worked for Oliver and saw those tractors. Basically, their neighbors, they show them, or he shows everybody their farm because of all they got, and if they have friends in town, they go over and show his farm. And I mean, I guess it's a tight-knit neighborhood over there that way. So, but basically, it's two brothers and their wives, and basically, they say as long as they are alive, as long as the brothers and their wives are alive, there will be nothing, or not a single tractor that wasn't built in Charles City farming that ground. And every single tractor on that farm is a white. I didn't see any Olivers. I'm not saying they weren't floating around. We didn't walk around everywhere, but you probably saw there was a 2 180 hooked to the snowblower sitting in front of the 1325. There was a couple whites hooked to manure spreaders. There was a white hooked on the feed on their TMR mixer. There were whites in the shot. There was whites everywhere. So that's kind of the story of why those tractors are there and why they're still being farmed with. Is they said as long as they are alive, there will never be a tractor that wasn't built in Charles City farming that farm. So that's why those are their big horses. They do have a New Holland combine, but he said all their tillage, or the vast majority of their tillage and planting equipment and their tractors are all white. So that's kind of the backstory on that. But like I say, not naming names or locations other than they're not very far from home. They're still there around Charles City. So, but anyway, that pretty much ends our big whirlwind tour of Floyd County, Iowa. So, I guess with that being said, that's it for this one. We'll catch you guys on the next one.